What's up, guys? Welcome to another Q&A. This is going to be awesome, so definitely tune in for the rest of this. As usual, give it a couple minutes to let everyone roll in so we can get questions going. So if you're catching the replay, make sure you hit the bell in addition to subscribing, because then you'll get notified when I'm doing these, so you can actually hop in here and get your questions answered. So while we wait for people to show up and to get some questions going, I guess I'll just give some little updates. My last video, make sure you catch it. It was all about shipping, which is a major thing that people get held up and confused about. So it was like 16 minutes long, so really should clear up a lot of your questions about shipping in that last video before this Q&A, which will live on the channel after it's done. And the next vlog that I filmed yesterday, should be up tomorrow, is going to be about PPC. So I know that a lot of you have been waiting for that one. So if you're catching this on the replay, it should just be the next video after this one. Other than that, that's about it on the updates. What else is new? What else is new? Yeah, I mean, you guys know. You already know. I guess I'll give a plug to my Instagram. I'm really trying to do some quick Q&As live on there as well. So at Matt Loberstein, I'm the same everywhere. So yeah, follow me there for more stuff. And yeah, we're starting to get some people in the chat. So guys, if you're in here live, start hitting me with questions. Whatever you guys want to get into, I am here, whether that's Amazon or anything else that you, for whatever reason, feel I am qualified to talk to you about. I'm happy to get into anything. Already some comments on the haircut. Yeah, I just came from a haircut, like literally got a haircut, took a shower, and now we're here. So yeah, I had that one quote in a vlog like a week or two ago about like, my haircut is the reason this YouTube channel is successful. I love that. A lot of people seem to enjoy that. So yeah, can we ask questions now? Yes, you absolutely can. So let's see. How much capital do I need to start up? We'll start there, because like, as much as I sort of joke about this question, I know that a lot of you, obviously I wouldn't get asked this question every single day if a lot of you weren't sure. So I'll just give a honest answer here to that. For those of you that are wondering this or watching the replay, anything like that, I would say, you know, over 5 grand is optimal. That's optimal. Now, under 5 grand is possible, but not optimal. 1 or 2,000, it's doable. It's not optimal. It's just hard to find products that you can source that aren't going to be majorly competitive, because everybody is attacking those products that are easy to source for low costs. You know, I mean, anything is possible. I mean, it's possible to start with a very few amount of units, you know, slap a sticker on them and get going and order more. But the reality of even that is that if the first couple $100 or whatever goes well, you're going to need to invest more and more. So maybe you could start with less, but have money on the back burner that you could dump in once it's proven. I think that's a better place to be. But in general, I would say, you know, being above 5K really is great. What's up, Sammer? How's it going, dude? How many we got? We got 52. I didn't notify too many people about this. Let's see. Hopefully it gets up to like 100. We'll see. Sometimes it takes a bit. Let's look for some interesting questions. Yeah, guys, if you're in here live, hit it up right now. Anything you guys want to go into. I always say this, but I think I'll try to keep this one to like 30 minutes. I've said that multiple times. They always end up at least 45 to an hour, but maybe just a nice tight little Q&A right here, and potentially more often. How many of your products have failed on Amazon? That's a great question, and I think it really fits into what I try to tell you guys about and be so real about, which is that like, this is not easy. This is not just like some hack, some trick, some, you know, do this and this, take 5 minutes and then make 100K a month. It is not like that. So I have products that don't work out. I have the whole spectrum. I have products that are big wins. I have products that are okay and I keep them going. And then I have a few products that I just full on stopped because they were just dead. So, you know, as far as how many, your question was how many, like in terms of a number, have failed. It's hard to say like what you even define failing as. Like, is it selling less than I expected? I've got a lot of those, but I've got some that are more than I expected. I've only actually cut out and stopped selling 3, not very many, because a failed product, I might still keep rolling along, and maybe it sells a lot in Christmas or something like that. And it's not really like I've already put in the work to source it, to, you know, design it and all of that. So yeah. What's the best shipping method for your first order of 300 units? Could you go over that, please? Yeah, first off, I'll say again is that the video right before this one was all about shipping. Definitely go watch that if you're having any holdups about shipping. But if you're only ordering 300 units, most likely you're just gonna do Air Express. That's your standard sort of DHL, UPS, or FedEx, either to your house, and then you can ship it in via Amazon's partnered UPS and FedEx rates, or DDP, which means delivery duty paid from your supplier directly into Amazon. But at such a low volume, it's not gonna make sense to do sea shipping or anything like that. Unless the exception to this, of course, if you're dealing with like a giant heavy item, then you're gonna probably go sea shipping from day one, 100%. I mean, if your product is 45 pounds and it's like, you know, then you're not gonna do air shipping. So there are exceptions, but assuming your product is, you know, relatively reasonably sized and weight, you're really just going to do air shipping, and it's going to be the easiest, you know, learning curve as well. And I'll even add to this is when you're starting out, just a few hundred units, like more than you're trying to profit immediately, you're trying to prove your concept. You're trying to see that this can go through. So like you can always fix your profit margin and get a few extra dollars out of switching from air shipping to sea shipping later. You really want to prove concept. That should be the initial goal. What was the initial startup cost on your most profitable SKU? Okay, that's an interesting question because my startup cost on that SKU was more than most of you want to start with. It was about, what was my first? I think my first order was about $12,000 for my most successful product. So take that as you will, but what I will say is that that was not my first product. And what I've done throughout business in my career, if you will, is roll one thing into the next. So that was my first product of my second brand, and it was probably about my 5th product overall. I think I probably had 4 or 5 in the first brand before I went to the second brand. And yeah, so I was rolling initial successes into a bigger risk, right? That's exactly what I say about people starting private label in the beginning. You shouldn't start it with $300. You should go make some money elsewhere so you can take this risk, this bigger upside risk. Same thing I did with my first smaller successes and rolled that into a bigger risk, bigger upside, bigger risk, right? So yeah, my most profitable was, I think my first order was about 12K. How do I find out what keywords I'm already ranked for? I get sales beyond PPC, but I'm not on top pages for most keywords. So I'll actually answer the second part of that question first, which is that the reason you're getting sales and you're not on the top for most keywords is because Amazon like is way more of a web than people give it credit for. It's not just like people typing in one keyword, clicking on the first one and buying that product. It's like they're going down a rabbit hole. The same way you do on YouTube, right? You're clicking a million different things and you're ending up in a different place than you started. That's the same thing with Amazon. Where'd the question go? So what I mean is that you have to push through Amazon's system. So you're showing up and frequently bought together, customers who also viewed. When you add it to the cart, they get a suggestion. You know, all of those things are how you, in my eyes, that is rank. It's more than just showing up for one keyword. It's the whole thing. It's that you're showing up all over the place. You're showing up on a lot of different keywords. You're showing up on a lot of different product pages. You're just showing up, right? And that is ranking. So now, to the first part of the question, how do I find out what keywords I'm already ranked for? There is, somebody might need to correct me on this because I use Helium 10 as a tool to do it. So if you want Helium 10, there's a link in the description. It is an affiliate link. I use that software. But they have a tool in there that you can just put in a list of keywords and it'll see which ones your listing is indexing for, meaning is that keyword even like registering? But to do it manually, you can just put in your ASIN, which is like your product identifier, into the Amazon search with the keyword that it is. And I forget right now if you need to put a plus or not, like a plus the keyword. I think it works if you just do it straight. Maybe somebody in the chat. I haven't done it that way in a while, but I believe you can just type it in straight. And if it's even if it's a string of keywords, it's not one word, then I think if you just put quotation marks, I believe it works. Or you can use Helium 10 and just dump it in. But there is a way to do it manually, and I think I just described it correctly, or it's something very similar to that. I haven't done it the manual way in quite a while for that. Okay, wait, no, before the one I laughed at. Should I get reviews before starting PPC, and how to get reviews? This is something I feel strongly about. You should not wait. You need to start PPC right away. I know that there are a lot of people that say they say to wait until you have reviews. But to me, I see PPC as a way of getting the ball rolling, getting some traction, and ultimately getting some of those initial reviews, because those purchases can lead to reviews. So to me, it's like, what are you going to do? Just have your listing up and it's just going to be dead. And you're just like, oh, well, I need to wait for reviews. And I don't know. Just start PPC. Have a great listing. Yeah. Have everything except reviews. And your listing can still convert, in my opinion. It won't convert as well, of course, that's true, but start. You're gonna be getting data from it too. So that data it's not gonna be profitable PPC. Maybe it will, but maybe it'll be close, but it's gonna be helpful to you. It's helpful to you in other ways. The PPC video coming out tomorrow is gonna go into that. Can you give us an example? Can you give us any product examples? So the reason I never ever really talk about specific products is there's going to be one person on the other end that's their product, and then they're going to feel really bad. So I don't want to talk specific products. I've seen this happen so many times. Like, I get people that contact me that they're screwed now because some gigantic Amazon guru, like not me, like big names, started using their product as an example, and now it has 5,000 competitors. So I don't think I need to give exact product examples. I mean, look, a product is it's anything. I mean, it's any product. Like, you can like list some and ask me if I think it's a product. I'm gonna skip to a little more recent. So if I skipped your question, keep believing it, because I just like to keep it relevant so you guys don't feel like I'm trailing behind. What is your strategy for getting initial reviews for a new product? So, I mean, there's the white hat answer, which is what I do 100%. And then there's the medium gray hat answer, which is, more of a dark gray answer. So the only real way to get reviews is to get real sales somehow, somehow, whether that's promotions, whether that's PPC, whether that's whatever, and you follow up with those customers neutrally asking for a review. And I say neutral because you can't sway it to be positive. Now, what a lot of people will do, and I don't advise this, but if you're gonna do it, be careful. But a lot of people will have like friends and family sort of buy their product and leave a review. Now, like, you can get in trouble for that. This is not allowed, but a lot of people do it. So I'm just saying, I don't do it, but that's a big way that people get initial reviews. But realize you are breaking Amazon's rules, and they could ban you for that. So it's up to you. Let's see. Did you have success selling cell phone parts? Yeah, for those of you, the reason that question is asked is because before Amazon, one of my first semi-businesses was I was reselling used and broken iPhones, full phones. That led me into like importing bulk repair parts, LCDs, batteries, cables, what else? Like, I don't know, random little like parts of the phones, right? And it worked. I mean, there were times where I had made more money in a short period of time than I had made ever in my life prior to that. but it's hard. It's a hard business. It's a bad business. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, to be honest. There's a lot of returns, a lot of customers breaking this stuff, trying to install it because they don't know what they're doing. And a lot of times you might make a lot of money and then give it all back because you just get screwed a lot. So it is, and it's really tight on margins. There's a lot of defective parts. So I wouldn't recommend selling cell phone parts, and not on Amazon. That is not an Amazon sort of play. That is more, I was doing that on eBay before my Amazon days. Brad, iPhone flipping days were fire. Yeah, dude. It really was. That was really what got me. I mean, that was what I leveraged into this. Since you are selling at a large scale, how do you handle all the accounting with your products? Do you hire someone to do all of this? Also, how did you handle accounting when you started FBA? So I have a CPA and they do my bookkeeping as well. So it's plugged into all of my accounts. I don't do that. I also use Managed by Stats, which is a software. There's a link below if you'd like to get that software. It's a profit tracking software, which plugs into your Amazon account. So that's more of like the Amazon side, whereas my bookkeeper is looking at the bank accounts, the credit card accounts, all of that type of stuff, and reconciling it and, putting what is what and all of that. So when I first started, it was a mess. I mean, this isn't even good advice to give. So if you're asking what I did when I started, it was just messy. If you're just starting and you're obviously not going to go get a CPA, here's what you should do. Really, you should have an LLC, but you're probably not going to have an LLC from the beginning. Set up a separate bank account, okay? Even if you're not going to get an LLC, set up a separate bank account. Go to the bank, set up a separate account. Only receive and pay your business related stuff from that account. So don't mix your personal stuff with your business account. So, and then just keep track of obviously the money coming in and keep track of the expenses going out. And, you can pass that on to whoever does your taxes and say, look, I made this much money. I have this much in expenses, and boom, that's kind of it. I'm not a tax professional. How do you find influencers? I don't know I haven't used any specific tool for that. I've just manually kind of dug through and found influencers. Interesting question. If you were to lose your entire Amazon business today, do you think you can grow it back to what it is today, and how long do you assume it will take you to do so? I mean, it depends on the resources that I have or that you have. Like, do I have the resources that I have now, or am I like starting at zero? Look, it's possible, but if you're starting with like the amount of money I had back then, now, which I started, my first order back then was like $800. That's hard now. Like I said at the beginning of this Q&A, that's hard. Of course it's possible. I mean, there are people building businesses that are bigger than mine this year. I mean, it's all possible, but I think for me to do so, I think it would take another few years or however long it took, or maybe more because it's harder. But I think with some of the resources I have now, I could for sure like attack some bigger things and just go in quicker too. Obviously money, better marketing, like connections. I mean, there's advantages, but it's definitely possible. Would you say it's a lot easier to sell on Amazon USA due to the larger population, as other Amazon countries are much smaller? Yeah, I do. I think there's potential on other markets, no doubt, but everything I sort of say is mostly geared with the US marketplace in mind. I've slacked on expanding, so there's definitely potential there, but like it's not as big, but it's also less competitive. So if you personally are in, say, the UK, I would definitely look at the UK marketplace. Now, that I'm not saying I would not look at the US marketplace, but me in the US, I have more obstacles to sell in the UK than you do, because you understand VAT and stuff like that, and I'm not set up for that. So yeah, I mean, other markets are great, but US is obviously the biggest Amazon marketplace. How can I sell anything through Shopify dropshipping when the same item is sold on Amazon? How can I sell anything through Shopify dropshipping when the same item is sold on Amazon? I'm not sure exactly like what you mean by that question, honestly. Products are sold on both platforms all the time. I mean, what we talk about here, like on this channel and in my space, is more about branding, your own brand, whereas dropshipping is very generic and anonymous. So the way that you stand out on Amazon is by branding and by having a unique customer experience and a unique product in some way. If you're dropshipping, it's harder to do so. So you usually need to, it's more, it's competing on price. It's being great at marketing and driving traffic. It's a harder game. I don't do dropshipping, but that's my attempt at that. PPC ad sales seem to be weighing less than they did, and more weight appears to be given to external traffic sales for product keywords. Have you noticed this? I haven't noticed that particularly because I feel that would be hard to measure, like how you could actually measure those side by side unless you were getting like equal amount of sales and sort of, I'm curious if you like how you sort of discovered that. My personal belief is that those are the two best ways though, because one, PPC, you're paying Amazon for that traffic. They love it, right? And on the other hand, external traffic, they love it. You're bringing people to Amazon. Like, to me, those two methods, like Amazon should absolutely love both of those methods. One, you're paying them to show up, and the other one, you're saying, hey, person, come to Amazon and buy their stuff. Like, they should favor, like both of those are so high above average in my eyes. I've heard some people that suspect that there's not really a boost for external traffic, but I feel there should be. And if there isn't, it's probably just because Amazon hasn't like implemented that, but like it makes a lot of sense, right? You're bringing, it's like being an Amazon affiliate. You're bringing customers to Amazon. They should reward that in my eyes. I found an amazing product. I could crush the competition, but can't find a single example on Alibaba. What would you do? Yeah, that can be tough. I would try to find who on Alibaba makes something the closest to what you're looking at. They might have other products in their catalog that they are not displaying, meaning who makes another version of this product. Maybe it's not the right material or it's not what you're looking for, but it's the same sort of product. Or on the other hand, maybe it's not the same sort of product, but maybe it's the same material and similar in its actual form. And maybe they have it or the capability of doing it. Other thing you could do, which is something I'm not an expert at, which is to have a purchasing agent. So an agent who is on the ground in China, or wait, that's another point too. Maybe this product isn't manufactured in China. Have you checked that? Like, look at your competitors, or like, and where are they sourcing from? Maybe it's somewhere else. Maybe it's the U.S. So that might be worth looking into. Now, if you think it's coming from China but you can't find it on Alibaba, you could try a sourcing agent. I think I said purchasing agent. I meant sourcing agent. Kind of the same, but sourcing agent is basically somebody on the ground in China that has, they are tied in with the factories. Like, they know the sourcing game. Like, so they can find you things that are not on Alibaba. So everything is in place: Amazon seller account, business account. What is the best strategy for research? I'm not sure if you mean product research or just like research in general. If you mean research in general, I think you should start by learning everything you possibly can. Whether that's digging through everything possible on YouTube, joining the Facebook groups, listening to the podcast, you should absolutely be doing that. If you're the type that learns better from a step-by-step course, that could help you learn everything too. But regardless of what path you go, you need to learn a lot. You need to immerse yourself in the space so that you absorb those little details and you just get a better feel. I remember when I was first getting into the Amazon space, every time somebody would talk about like the barcode situation, I would just be like overwhelmed. But like the more you see it, the more you get it, then all of a sudden it's just like, it's easy, right? Or freight forwarders and shipping. You're super confused until it's easy. So learn a lot. Now, if we're talking, if you meant product research, then I would say, don't underestimate the amount of stuff you can find on Amazon itself. The tools are great, but you should be able to do it manually. So don't underestimate how much you can find by like literally just like digging and digging and digging on Amazon. Be patient, look at a lot. You have to learn how to evaluate sales data, you know, look at the competition, all of that type of stuff, but you can do it all manually. My video about Jungle Scout, just type in Matt Loberstein Jungle Scout, and you should, in that video, not only do I talk about Jungle Scout, but I believe it's in that video where I actually explained how you can do all of that manually for free without Jungle Scout, and then you can use Jungle Scout to just speed you up and, you know, accelerate what you're doing, but you have that fundamental core understanding of how to do it on your own. What payment method do you suggest for paying suppliers? Number one is trade assurance. That is through Alibaba. It's the safest, and it's cheap and it's safe. Well, I mean, let me disclaimer, it's not 100% safe. Stuff can happen, but it has some levels of protection built in such that you could like open a claim if something went wrong. You could also put it on your credit card and trade assurance. So then you'd have 2 layers of protection. You could always do a credit card chargeback. So that's definitely like the most protected way. How are taxes on this business model? Taxes are the same. I mean, it's income tax. It's income tax. How much money you make in profit, that's what you pay taxes on as income. As far as I know, like no business is taxed differently based on what type of business it is, unless it's like a nonprofit or something like that. So yeah, I mean, it's just taxed like any other form of income. Yeah. I guess the one thing I'll note is that in an inventory business, you can't write off your inventory until it sells. Google that and read around if you're confused by that, but that's definitely a sort of a downside. Once you launch your first product and it succeeds, how many products do you launch per month after, assuming you have the funds to launch more? Well, the fact that you put per month in that question is like, whoa, that's fast. You know, I would say like it depends. It depends how much inventory or how much funds you really have, which is what you addressed, and then so how much money do you have? You don't want to go out of stock on your first product in order to launch the second product. So don't neglect your existing success. Expand once you can. And then I would say it's just up to how much you're willing to throw at it and what opportunities you find. I wouldn't do more than a couple at a time, unless if you're watching this and you have $500,000 you want to throw at this business, like that's different. Okay, like you might go out this very, very, very aggressively and launch a lot of products and just go really deep into this. But for most of us, I would say, you know, 1 to 2 at a time, and that might not be. I mean, per month is. I mean. That means you're going to be sinking a lot of money into inventory, because you have to realize that the more you scale a single product, the more it's going to tie up money as well. So that could be quite quickly. Have you ever paid suppliers via Alibaba? Is it trustworthy? Yeah, I just addressed that. Trade assurance, very safe. Most safe, I should say. Can you share how to price a product? For me, typically it's never the cheapest, and it's usually towards the high end of the market. So let's say a product, say most everyone is around $21, and maybe there's one for 25 and there's a few for like 15. I would probably try to be like 23. Like that's kind of how I sort of think of it. That's random, you know, that's going to vary. Obviously that's just like one example, but it depends on the positioning of your product. There's no really one direct answer to that, but I like to bake it into my product that it's not the cheapest. Playing the price game is just not fun. And then, I mean, we could talk pricing psychology a little bit. I think the main thing is like, we could talk the suffix, right? Like the 99 cents or the 97 cents or the 81 cents or whatever. I think that's fascinating. And I think it's a small detail. It's not going to make or break your business, but you can monitor how that affects your conversion rate. And I think that different price suffixes do evoke something in us. Like we're used to seeing 99s as full price. 97 feels kind of like fresh and different, and a little premium, a little weird too, but that's unique. 95s, they sometimes just, if it looks right, sometimes it just works. I feel like that works at lower price points, $11.95, $13.95, something like that feels right. $39.95 doesn't feel right to me. I don't know, it just doesn't. Then with like random suffixes, like say 36.43, that makes it look like it's on sale, which is a very interesting tactic, because then it looks like it's a % off cut. Like, for example, if something was, I can't do this math in my head, but let's say something was $23 and then it was, or say it was $23.99 and then it was 15% off. Like, that would probably give you a random suffix if I were to do the math on that. I'm not doing the math, but what I mean is, like, that's kind of how our brains work. Like, if you go into Walmart or Target or whatever, sometimes you see the price is slashed and it's like $13.74. It's not $13.99. I think that stuff is interesting. Do you find Amazon fees keep increasing? Typically, they've done a small increase pretty much every year. Yeah. How do you pay yourself? This is different for if you're just starting out, but at this point, and for the past couple of years, I've had my business taxed as an S corporation, which as an S corporation, you have to set up payroll. So technically, I am an employee of my company, and then I have a salary. It has to be a reasonable salary, or else you can get in trouble. So I just, like, it doesn't have to be a ton. Like, you set it to like, $5,000 a month or whatever, and that's your salary that you get paid to you as like an employee, basically. Now, above that, if I want to pay myself, then you can just write yourself a check, and that's a distribution. But that's how it works. If you have an LLC and you're not S corp, or you're just starting out, it's basically just, obviously you have to prepare for taxes, but you just write yourself a check. Oh, everyone click the like button, he says Max. Yeah, I appreciate that. I never ask. Please, if you're in here, if you're watching the replay, hit the like. It really does make a difference. Well, I got behind. All YouTubers say to print FN SKU. One Amazon rep said to print UPC instead, and another said I can print either. What do you think? Don't ask Amazon these questions. Like, Amazon is not built for private label brand owners. It's built as like a retail store, for wholesalers. So if you're selling other products, it's UPC all day. If you have your own product, but then you have to cover it with the FN SKU. If you send it in as a UPC, say you're selling some existing product, you send it in with the UPC, it gets commingled with everyone else's inventory. If you send it in with an FN SKU, then you can have it be separated, more than you even need to know right now. But basically, you want to avoid commingled, because hijackers could then commingle inventory with your inventory. And if you do FN SKU, that helps you a bit with that. I would just say, like, really I would just do FN SKU. Let's see. Have you heard about what Trump trying to do to Amazon and tariffs on China? I've heard about the tariffs. I don't think it'll impact us very much, to be honest. What Trump is trying to do with Amazon, I don't even know. I don't really listen. I believe it. I'm guessing it probably has something to do with them becoming a monopoly and needing to be split up. Which, if that happens, it's going to take a really, really long time. My sort of outlook on all of those types of things are like, it often seems like everything is going to explode, and it doesn't. I'll leave it at that. Let's see. I skipped to the bottom, so trying to find some good questions. I'll do maybe one or two more questions, and then we'll wrap it up. Or maybe three. Are you going to sell parts of your course separately? I've been getting this question a lot, and I've considered it, but I don't think it makes sense. I think that it actually is less, it's less valuable. I wouldn't say it's not valuable, but it's the sum of the parts is greater than each individually. What I mean is that, like, a lot of people are asking because they just want to buy the end of the course, which is everything after, like, where the other courses end or where everyone ends. Like the typical thing is, how do you get up and selling on Amazon? Mine is, how do you get up and selling on Amazon? And then how do you maintain it? How do you scale it? All of that. So a lot of people just want to buy that piece, which is understandable. The problem that I have with it, and why I don't think it's a good idea, is because if you actually look at the course, if you're in the course, let me know too, because I think you'll agree with this, is that I really think that like the scaling on its own, like it makes sense because of the steps we took up the ladder. Like it's baked in from the beginning. Like my product research has scaling in mind. You know, all of it has, like the way I talk about shipping has scaling in mind. You know, so I don't know. I think it would. It's just not. It doesn't feel right. So I don't think I plan to sell pieces. You know, product selection. Sort. I don't think so. I think it's like I said. It's worth more together than it is separate to you. Like the value. You know, and if I did break it up, I'd have to charge more for each section, obviously, and then it just makes less sense. So I think like all together, it makes a lot of sense. And I think that's just the way that it makes the most sense. So hopefully that makes sense to you. And hopefully I'll see some of you in there soon. Where was I? Skipped one. Can manufacturers customize products for you? Yeah. I mean, that's a core reason why you want to deal with a manufacturer, for sure. Let's see, maybe one or two more. Try to find a good one, and then we'll wrap up. If you're watching the replay, make sure you subscribe. If you're not, make sure you hit the bell so you know when I'm doing this. And yeah, like button, all of that. Case Ahead says you need to do the whole course. Have you ever sold wholesale on Amazon? Is it as profitable as private label? I think it can be. I don't know about it. But I know that some people do really well in it. Trump is going after Bezos, Washington Post. 83 watching, 34 likes. Not too bad, Matt. Yeah, pretty sweet. Let's see. Jessica on the moderating. Do you offer hands-on support with your course? I guess we'll wrap up on that. So the answer to that is that I think people overpromise, right? And I think that's where you get into an issue. Like, it would be really easy for me to like sell it as like, yeah, you get one-on-one. But like the reality of it is like, look, if there ends up with 3,000 people in there, like that would be literally impossible. So here's the true answer for it. The course comes with a private Facebook group, which is my top priority for getting questions that are not necessarily private. I get that, but it's a smaller group. It gets priority attention. We can go a little bit more into the details in there. So that's for members of the course only, and that gets priority attention. And then, you know, as far as private messages and questions directly, let me just say that I am quite approachable now, but I feel it's not right to make those promises because what happens later if there's thousands, right? So right now, if you're in the course and you send me a message, there's a really, really, really good chance that I'm going to see it. Or email, like you can email me, you can Facebook message me. Now sometimes it gets buried and you can try again and be like, hey, I'm in the course. You know, if you say that, I'll see it more. That those basically what I'm trying to say is those get priority. Of course, that's fair. Now what it doesn't include is private one-on-one calls. That, like I said, that would I could never ever promise or scale that. It wouldn't make any sense, and I'd be on calls for 24 hours a day. I mean, I don't think it'd be possible if I did that. So it does not come with one-on-one calls, but you can still ask me a question. You've got the Facebook group, and here's the reality of it too. Literally, like I know it's hard to like understand this, but like everything I ever say on the calls is in the course. It really is. So that was why the course was so difficult. That was why it took me so much time to build, because I wanted to put everything that I say, everything I think about, the way, like, you know, get into my head in it. And I wanted to make it great and have everything. So, you know, if you're worried about that, I would say, you know, I'm pretty sure you'll be very, very happy with what's in there as a package, and then with the community as well. I think you'll be good. And but yeah, that's the reality of it. I just know that a lot of people overpromise, and ultimately, like, look, I just never want to disappoint anybody. Like, that's why I'm never like shoving it, because I want people to be in there that want to be in there. They want to pay for it. They see the value for it, and they feel that they got more value than they paid for it. That's good business. You should think about here's a little trick too. There's actually a little piece in the course about this at the beginning, so a little teaser, I guess, is what I just said about fair value exchange. That in every business, that you should think about that in every business, or you should think about that in your entire life. Fair value exchange. Like, if somebody is giving you something, it needs to make sense for something in return, right? Like, why should somebody do something for you if you're not doing something for them? And if somebody's buying your product, your physical product or your course or whatever, like, the goal should be that they feel it was worth it or more, right? And that's just good business. That's just being a good person. That's just doing something that's good for the world. That's just doing something it's not shady. You're not like, if you're trying to get into an Amazon product and it's something that's just not a good product, like, it just doesn't feel right. So, try to sell good products. Try to do something that's good. And keep that in mind in business, keep that in mind in life, and I think that'll serve you well. I'm going to wrap up this live stream here. Thank you all so much for being here live. Thank you for watching through.
Say something in Spanish.
Say something in Spanish?
Yeah.
I can't say anything in Spanish.
Yeah. Say goodbye in Spanish. Yes.
Adios. Adios in Spanish. And then let me finish the English. What was I even saying? I got all distracted. You can click all the things, Facebook group, all the links, all the stuff. That's it. Hit the bell. See you in the next live stream. See you in the vlog tomorrow on PPC.